Gang Hang, good morning. We were on a little summer break from our Gang Hang, but we're back now. And as we all know, the Summer of Superman started in April, so that's the official beginning of summer now. So here we are. My name's Matt Baum. I am one of the hosts of the Two-Headed Nerd comic book podcast. My other host, Joe Patrick, chose to celebrate his anniversary today, which, I don't know. I mean, it just, all I ask is that he shows up, you know? I mean, really, what's more important, your wife or the free comic book show that we do on the internet where we talk with the nerds on the Discord? I ask you, which is more important, but that's not important. We're here to Gang Hang, talk about comics, talk about TV. I got a good group here. Good morning, gentlemen. How we doing?
Yeah, pretty good.
All right. I dig it. Hecatron joining us for the first time. I dig that. That's fun. New faces.
Hey, what's going on?
Welcome aboard, buddy. Let's get into it. Let's get started. What do we want to rap about first? I threw out some stuff. Superman Unlimited came out. Dan Slott is now at DC. Rafael Albuquerque drew it. I pronounce his name Albuquerque because I have to do that so I can spell it correctly. And somebody called me out. It's like, hey, man, are you making fun of him? And I was like, no, I didn't even think about that. No. So all apologies, Mr. Albuquerque and everyone that lives there. So did anyone read Superman Unlimited? And what do we think?
Yeah, I only read that first free comic book day issue, but interesting so far. I have to catch up as well, but I do like the art. I know that there's some issues with Mr. Albuquerque's art from some people, but it's decent for what it is. And it feels very Dan Slott-like so far.
It does feel very Dan Slott-like. On the subject of Albuquerque, I love his art. I want to stress that. And I loved like his American Vampire and stuff like that. I think there was just something about him going full superhero that freaked me out a little bit. And
we haven't really seen that before.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like one thing. I even looked at some of the panels. There was a panel of like Superboy and Lois and somebody else, and they're all coming into a room and they're all kind of herky-jerky, you know, and like they don't have feet and their elbows are in weird. And I was like, that looks really weird. But I think it only looks really weird because they were like Superboys in a costume and stuff like that. And had that happened in another Albuquerque book, you know, American Vampire or something, for example, I wouldn't have even thought twice about it. But when it happens in a Superman book, and the other Superman book is like the slickest looking, you know, I can't even say the name of the artist that's doing Superman right now, Williamson, but he's great. I think maybe it's just the lack of slickness. I don't know, but it bothered me.
Yeah, a little bit. I could see that too. I did like that look on Soup's face on the last part when they're the big reveal with the meteor and the asteroid being not. Yeah, it's like, oh god. It's like,
that's like, I don't know, page 8. I think the free comic book day it was a preview of the issue.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
So it's I thought I have not read a lot of Dan Slott comics, I guess.
Okay.
You know, I'm not really a Spider-Man person or any of that, so. I thought his storytelling was bizarre.
Kind of, right? Joe just gushed all over it and told me how wrong I was. So this is great. He's not here to defend himself. Let's pile on.
Yeah, he was afraid. He didn't want to hear it. It takes. So the pacing. So the issue is essentially there's the setup is that there's no one else to help because everyone else is out in space, which I think is bizarre. But,
right.
There's no one else around in the entire giant
there.
Justice League of Unlimited.
Real quick, I get it's a Superman book, but 2 pages previous, they showed him talking to Hal Jordan, Green Lantern. So Hal's there.
Right.
And there's no backup.
Yeah. So they do a bunch of things where he shows the... he goes, what it's like when he's in the city and he's saving people and, this girl, this 20-something is playing music and like writing a song. He's like, oh, your song is beautiful. And he gives her like $5 and says,
it's cute.
Keep at it. So it's like, oh, what a nice guy he is. And then he goes into space and there's like a big meteor that they couldn't detect because it was like covered by this material that made it untraceable until it was too close.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then he smashes that because he thinks that's what it is, which is not a great plan anyways.
No.
Okay. But then it turns out to be a shell and it's an entire kryptonite planet,
right,
meteor thing. So now he's affected by it. So as he's falling into he's trying to stop it with all of his might, literally. But in between, he's having these flashbacks
Yeah.
to like, which I thought was weird because it was like he was living. I think it's the narration for me where it's just like the tone is weird. Like he's like, I'm looking at it right now. He says, you know, he sees, you know, my earliest memory, seeing my homeworld explode. Like he's living through all of these moments where some of them I don't know that he would have seen that way. And like,
agreed.
But it's really just like,
like after he died. Yeah. There was like a Saving Private Ryan thing, right? Where you have this moment where you're like, well, wait a minute. Matt Damon was narrating this whole thing and he wasn't there for 3/4 of it. How's he know all that shit? You know,
yeah. Like, and so it's a way that Dan Slott can, I guess, introduce the history of Superman. And, you know, there's like the death of Superman and all of the, it's like telling you like all the stuff that's happened. And I don't know. It feels weird that in the middle of him literally pushing this giant kryptonite meteor, he's having these like, he's thinking back to what his life was like with a lot of dialogue. And it just, I don't know. It seemed like he's doing two things at once. And I think he needed to do one way than the other.
Agreed. And if you're trying to do the like,
it's not bad. It's just like, it's awkward. I feel like he's shoving a bunch of stuff into this issue, and I thought it was kind of strange.
I think if you're trying to do the, you know, my life is flashing in front of my eyes, well, great, you can do that, but it shouldn't be a pastiche. It should literally be your life flashing in front of your eyes. Like, oh my God, there was a time I almost died. Oh my God, there was you know, like you're freaking out. And the other
he's pontificating while he's pushing this thing, but at the same time, in the present, he's like, really, he's like, oh, this is so difficult. Like he's narrating his moments, but at the same time, internally, he's like, those were the days when Lex and I were in school. It's just, it's weird.
That I found interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of strange.
It's a real thing.
Yeah. I also, another thing that gets me, and this is just a bugaboo, but like kryptonite, how bad is it? I got to ask, how bad is it? Because sometimes you could have a little piece of kryptonite, you know, like a golf ball size of piece of kryptonite, and Superman's like, oh God, and he just like diarrhea and sore throat, and he's like full on, like he's down. Yeah, like COVID flu. He is down, you know?
Well, yeah, I mean, they do like the, you know, how many times has Lex opened the ring box and had like a little chunk, which is like, so you imagine a diamond size, which is, diamonds can be pretty big, but they're not that big. No. You know, I mean, it's what, like the size of a penny? Like a penny would be a big diamond.
Sure.
Right?
Massive.
So,
yeah.
You know, so it's like smaller than a dime.
Right.
And all he did is open it, and he's across the room, and he's like,
right. You know, we've seen Lex put that ring on and deck Superman and lay him out. You know, so that's how powerful kryptonite is. This is, I don't know how big this meteor is supposed to be. It's larger than a car. We agree with that, right? It's larger than a semi truck. So this is a sizable amount of kryptonite.
Like it looks like it's probably like, I don't know, 100, maybe 100 yards big.
It's huge.
Like it's probably bigger than that, but it's huge. He's pushing against it, and it engulfs him. Like in front of him, like you can't see him. Because it's not like a snowball size. It's this massive thing. So yeah, and he's pushing, and I don't know. It's just it's a weird start because like I'm on board with, let's see Dan Slott do what Dan Slott does, and I'm like, I don't know. Like he needed to get this pain, this threat through, but he also wanted to stick his mark on it by let me do my recap. Let me recap the history of Superman in my own words,
which
in the middle of this huge thing, which is just strange.
It is strange. It comes off as like, first of all, I don't think anybody needs, we always talk about Batman and the pearls hitting the ground, you know, in Crime Alley, and like, oh, let me remind you of my origin. Like, we get it, dude. We know. Everybody friggin' knows. I don't know that we need another origin of Superman too. And the things you recapped, it's like, here's the biggest things that absolutely everybody knows. Like, remember when he died in the night? Yes, we all know that. Like, no question, right? And some of it, if it is for the sake of continuity to show, oh, look, this Superman really did go into the future with Legion of Superheroes, that makes some old nerds like Joe Patrick happy. Great. Whatever. Fine. But yeah, it was a lot of recap, sort of like, I see him working. If you haven't read Superman for a long time, come back. Here's a refresher. Fine. But there was a lot of that. There was a lot of
I
it.
think when you see, the issue for me is that if you have, it's a number one, it's Summer Superman, Superman Unlimited. It's a big, bold relaunch with the guy from Marvel and all that. You would, if you were giving a book to someone who's never read Superman before, and you had this and the Josh Williamson Dan Mora book, they would, I think,
Dan Mora,
probably like
you.
the Dan Mora book more.
I think so too. I also think,
if
this is taking place in regular Superman continuity, one of the things that Matt Fraction's going to do with his Batman story that's coming up, it's just like, this happens whenever. It's not important, right? This is happening in Superman continuity, and they do a thing. This is a spoiler, but they do a thing where Superman wakes up after he has stopped the meteor, which I mean, you could have just been like, oh, Superman, you tried so hard and you definitely slowed it down. And then you passed out, and Green Lantern and the other guys took care of it from there. Whatever. And I would have been like, that makes more sense. Kryptonite almost kills the guy. But they're like, Superman, you're awake. And he's like, oh, I'm okay. And they're like, yep, you're all right. It's been 3 months. You slept for 3 months.
Yeah.
Is he going to be asleep for 3 months in the Williamson book? Is he going to be asleep for 3 months in World's Finest? Is he going to be, in the pages of Justice League? Does he go away for 3 months?
Yeah. And the thing that happens with the meteor does make it to Earth in some form. We don't see we see that it crashes. We don't know how it actually happens. But now, and the thing is, like, what the result of it is that there's a rogue nation somewhere in the world. I don't know if they really even tell you. It's El Caldero, which is, so I don't know if it's, I don't know where in the world it is.
Sounds Latin
South America or Central America, something like that. But they basically have used kryptonite like vibranium. Yeah. Like they're using it to like power their city. And it's this like, which is, I think, an interesting idea.
It's cool.
But what, like, where they're all like, the pacing of the book is just unusual for me. And you've got he wanted to do the flashback. They have to do the setup of this like Rogue Nation thing.
Right.
And the 3 month gap and this new like power thing at the end. Yeah. And it's like, it's a lot of stuff, and it all feels like, okay, like we're just kind of, you're along for the ride, but not in a, wow, like I'm along for the ride. It's a, all right, I guess we'll see where this all goes. And then in 6 months do we go, you know what? That didn't really work.
Yeah. We'll see.
I don't know.
We'll definitely
see. I physically went to a comic shop yesterday. I bought a bunch of stuff. This was one of the stuff I bought. And so I was interested in kind of reading it in person to really get a hold on what it was. And I read it last night. It was like, I don't know.
Yeah. I like, is it bad? No, I don't think it's bad at all. And I think if you're like me and you like reading Superman, but you don't give a shit about all the other super family, like there's too many super people. There just is. Mm-hmm. And I think that takes away from when you got a super woman and a super girl, and then there's super twins, and then there's 3 different super boys, and then there's another Superman, and he's Asian, and he's in China, but he also plays video games in Metropolis all the time. Like, what are we doing? This is too many super people.
The super twins are the breaking point for me. I go, no, I can't do it. Yeah. I know I can't do it. It's too many. And then, they have to constantly remind you that, oh, but by the way, don't forget there's 12 of us.
Yeah.
There's a lot. And how do you know? It's family dinner. It's always family dinner.
Right.
Yeah, it's I don't know. The super books, I think, they're in an unusual place. And I will just say this about and then I'll stop talking. The Summer of Superman special had Mark Waid, Williamson, and Slott each wrote chapters of the story.
Right.
And I think it's a really interesting example of styles of writing in modern era where, like, Mark Waid is, I think I'm biased, but like he's just like one of the best that's ever done it in the last 40 years.
No,
like
that's
he's
not
all
biased.
over it. He knows exactly what he's doing.
Brian, that is not biased. That is true.
No, but like I'm in the tank for Mark Waid, but it's like, it just feels natural. Like I feel like he sits down and like blacks out and wakes up and there's a fully written Superman script because it's like inside of him.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh, he knows what he's doing.
Right. Like some people sleep drive. Mark Waid like takes Ambien and then like writes comic books all night long.
He thinks of like a Silver Age comic that he loved that had a giant, gorilla in it, and he drifts off and he comes back and there's a 22-page script.
Yeah.
And it's like amazing. So he's got this really natural style. And then you read Williamson stuff and it's so important, and everything is the most, it's deliberately, it's like powerful and like italics. It's like, you understand how important this is. Like Superman's the number one hero.
Yeah.
Like it's telling it, like, it's over acknowledging the importance of the character, and it is done in like a really loving way, but it's like it's coming on really strong.
Yeah,
like it's coming on like so, because, and if you look at the last, like the Dark Crisis and all that, it's like, look at how important the story is, and Nightwing has something important to say, and the writing is good, like the dialogue is good, and the interactions are good, but it's a little overwrought, and it's just, he's got this like, do you understand how important this is? Like, I love comics because of Mark Waid, like blah, 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 like, and Mark Waid's just like, yeah, here's, I just whipped this out. It's a great Superman story. And then Dan Slott's stuff is just like, his script's like a little goofy, and it has like some like character moments that like kind of don't fit. And it's just like, the tone is like all over the place in that special. And I just, it's just interesting to see how you can write the same character in a big deal, kicking off this hopefully saving, the DC cinematic, whatever, as part of this whole push. And you've just got like these three really specific versions. And now we've got this Mark Waid, or this Dan Slott book. And I don't know that he writes the kind of, like, I don't know if he writes comics that I like. And I don't know that I want to read more of this, because I felt it's very weird. And I don't love the art. I think
it's weird.
It's weird.
It's
like
weird.
That page you mentioned is weird. Like and it almost looks like, and I don't know if they're influences, but like Neil Adams and like Gene Colan.
Yes.
Who are really, like, Neil Adams is like a map. Like, he's such a great like layout artist, and like he knows how to like set a scene.
But
genius. Some of his figures were kind of weird, and like the third panel in the middle of the page is like, I don't even know. It's very weird and not great.
I think Neil Adams and Rafael Albuquerque both do a similar thing, where they know where to put their energy, right? On whether it's a panel or an action thing or a moment, and they put all their energy there, and then some other stuff they just kind of let go, right? And not saying that they're not working, but they don't put all their energy into it, because whether that's they have to hit a deadline or whatever, or maybe that is their style. I want to draw you to these things, so I'll do a little less on this panel with Superboy's walking in and his elbows are up here or whatever. I don't know.
Go ahead.
Frank,
when you're done,
Frank, go ahead. Frank,
go right ahead.
Jump in,
all right,
please.
So I just perused the episode, the issue. I just kind of like looked through it. The artwork doesn't grab me, and I feel like I didn't read it, so I don't know. I can't comment on the story, but I was just looking at this visual storytelling, and I mean, the visual story, the beats are there. You can kind of see, this, read the story by sight, but the artwork itself, it seems, and I see what you mean about the Neil Adams thing, and it's like kind of a pale imitation of Adams. And I'm like, I'm not feeling it. For me, this is not the kind of story that I'm not the kind of artwork. I think the coloring in it was not great, and I think that was very distracting.
The coloring is very muted. It is very muted, and I don't know why. When you've got like a Dan Mora, work on the Williamson book, where that book is so bright and insane and tight and gorgeous.
Right.
That is not to say that, and I want to stress that I don't think this is bad or Albuquerque's bad. I just don't know if his style lends itself well to Superman.
His style doesn't really fit Superman. Yeah. Plus, it's like I can see the digital art. I can see the digital coloring, and that's bugging me. It's bugging me that nobody went in with a smoothing tool to fix up something to make it look less like it was less like a digital section and more like a. I think
he likes that though. I think that's kind of his style. I think Now, and this is like a very similar. This is a very similar criticism I have for X-Men right now, right? Where we have certain artists, Ryan Stegman, who I like. I think Ryan Stegman is great. I just don't think Stegman's style works for the X-Men. And I think he's even
it does.
I think he's even changing that style a little bit to try and make it a little more X-Man-ish, if you will. But it's not working for me. It's like when Frank Quietly did the X-Men. Frank Quietly brought his style to the X-Men, and people went, I hate it, because they were dumb. And everybody else realized, man, Frank Quietly's badass. He can draw anything, and it looks rad. And I think Stegman sort of bringing that same mindset to the X-Men, where he's like, I'm just going to bring my style. I'm going to put the X-Men. And everybody's be like, fuck yeah, Ryan Stegman. And a lot of us are like, I don't know. All the X-Men look like they're made of, like, nerd jelly candy or something. You know, it's just weird.
Well, Albuquerque was supposed to do Absolute Superman and did all the designs for it.
Yeah.
And I think Albuquerque's stuff on Absolute Superman would have absolutely ripped.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. And I think maybe if you, again, this is not bad, but maybe if you did it as like, this is a totally separate Superman story that doesn't happen in continuity, that isn't right next door to the Williamson Mora book, maybe we're all a lot more forgiving.
Well, actually, on the topic of weird X artists, I'm going to bring up an older book because I was listening to Jay and Miles, and they're doing a thing on. Does anybody remember Mutant X?
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
You kidding me? Loved it.
But I had never read it, so on their coverage, I went back and I pulled up the issues on Marvel Unlimited, and Tom Rainey's art actually really took me back for a second, like took me aback. Like, I'm not sure I like this. This looks a little, I mean, and
I love Tom
to
Rainey.
your point about like Stegman and all that is like, they're all kind of lumpy and weird looking. And it took me a while to kind of settle in, but you know, I think in that circumstance, the story takes so much precedence that you can kind of get over the unusual art. It's not technically badly done. It's just a different style.
Okay, so I was a Tom Rainey fan, so it did not bother me. I love Tom.
Right.
That was right after Change or Die.
Okay.
Yeah, right after Change or Die.
Like he had just done that, and then I think I always thought it was the inker, what's his Papoy, who did it, and I just always blamed him for it not looking great because some of it's kind of clunky and it's muddy and the figure works are kind of strange. And man, like what a missed opportunity that book was, because the story is just like, it's a really great idea. And Howard Mackie was just like not up to the job.
Don't disagree.
You know what's interesting about it is it feels like such a forgotten throwback that it feels like such a like throw or like just kind of like what's what I'm looking for. It's so like off to the side that like even the Marvel Unlimited version looks like a physical scan. Like I'm looking at a 2-page spread and I can see
someone took their photos.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see the center, like the staple, like this. Like this, the center
JD,
spine.
You need to understand when these comics came out, you may be looking at a physical scan. You very well may be. Yeah. Because I mean that shit wasn't digital back then, you know? That's just how it went.
This was published in 99.
Yeah, but 99, dude, you know? Like,
yeah, true.
You know, maybe everything's on a disk drive that does. Yeah, maybe everything is on a hard disk somewhere that nobody has a drive for anymore, you know?
Right.
They weren't storing shit in the cloud is all I'm saying. So
yeah, it just blew my mind. But I was just thinking, it's like, you know, it's kind of that thing of, you know, we had a discussion a while back about trying to explain to MCU fans that this is what it is to be a comics fan, is that sometimes things are good and sometimes things are bad.
Yeah.
And I'm going, you know, and I've been listening to a lot of X podcasts that go back and listen to go back and revisit stories, you know, Jay and Miles, Battle of the Atom.
Fun.
It's been up and down. You know?
Yeah. That was a weird time for Tom Rainey too, because as I recall, and Brian, correct me if I'm wrong, he had just come from Wildstorm, and the stuff that he was doing at Wildstorm was incredible. absolutely.
The end of his Stormwatch, and then he went from Stormwatch to DV8 when they like kind of swapped the books. And
I remember DV8.
A much slicker book. Like he was working with Randy Ellis. You know, I'm obsessed with remembering these things. And the book is a lot more slick, and it's got this like, you know, I think he probably did maybe 5 or 6 issues of that DV8 run. After Ellis left, with Ramos when they did that really gross opening thing, when the book shifted. But I think Tom Rainey's stuff, unlike this, like the problem with the Stegman thing is like that's the launch book. Yeah. And it's bizarre, but it's also not weird enough to be weird. Like it's like Generation X was a, you know, with Chris Pacello, like no one else looked like Chris Pacello or the X books. And all of a sudden you've got this, you know, you've got weird characters like Husk and Skin and Chamber and all that, you know, and it was like, whoa, this is different. And I feel like Rainey was a similar way on that book because it was different. Like this is not in regular continuity. This is
this is Earth 298.
Something like that.
Like it was such a fun idea, and like it's also strange, and Mackie completely fumbled it. But Stegman's like, this is the launch book, and it's kind of a by the numbers Rebel X-Men book. And it doesn't look. It still looks like the Junior X-Men because of the way he draws Cyclops. You know, who's
right. Yeah, the way they make Cyclops look so young, and the Beast with eyeliner and all of that, it's problematic. And the thing is, I think you're right, because like when, you know, Matt, to your point, when Quietly came on, we also had Morrison.
True.
You know?
Yes. And Quietly, like Pacello,
it's like, that makes sense.
You couldn't deny
Quietly's
the look
artwork
either,
is out there, and Morrison is batshit. So,
and I think that's just it. Like when you had Pacello and a guy like Quietly, even if you don't like that art, you could not deny, holy shit, there's so much style here, right? So much style.
And the thing with Stegman is I've never associated Stegman with style. I always kind of put Stegman in the category almost like a Dan Mora of he's just good, you know, and he just did good comic book storytelling, like good cartooning. And then it's like, what are you doing here? You're trying to be edgy, different. What? I can't tell. Just go back to drawing good.
So I disagree. I think Stegman was pretty heavy style. Like if you go back and look at like his Venom stuff, and I think the style is there, but I think maybe when he tried to alter his style a little bit to do this X thing, that's where I agree with you. Where it's just like, maybe you should have just done what you were doing, you know, whatever. I mean, and I don't hate it. I'm not saying it's bad. I don't think the style works for the book. That's all I'm gonna say. And
I don't think so either. And I don't
care for the team lineup either.
It detracts because I think if Jed MacKay had like a Mora on the book, I think it would be very good.
Maybe, Jed MacKay is another.
I think if we had an artist that was a little more transparent, like you could just like read the book and not, you know, I don't want anybody that you have to pour over the artwork, you know,
sure.
I can't even think of any good artists at Marvel right now. That's kind of the problem.
I mean,
look at Chichetto or someone like that.
Yeah, there's so many guys that have a style that is so slick, they all become the same artist. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let's jump to Marvel for a minute. Amazing Spider-Man. I don't know if anybody's reading it, but we were talking about it this week. I know Stern was talking about it with us a little bit. We're up to issue 4 of Joe Kelly's Amazing Spider-Man. The art in that book is outstanding.
Oh, are we?
I will take nothing away from the art. It's absolutely
How
gorgeous.
often does it come out?
They're doing it like bi-weekly, so we're getting tons of
so that's
Spider-Man.
That's why I don't have it at the Lake House yet.
Yeah,
I was like, they're gonna issue 4. I should at least have number 1.
They're gonna dump it on you.
I think 3 months out.
I think they're gonna do a digital dump where here's the first 5-issue storyline or something like that, because it's gonna conclude in issue 5.
Okay.
Joe Kelly is writing it. I absolutely love Joe Kelly. Love him. Right? The guy's fantastic. Did wonderful X stuff back in the day. This Spider-Man is just, it's not working. It's not working for me. And the first issue was so good. The 10 deaths of Spider-Man, or pardon me, the 8 deaths of Spider-Man, which lasted 10 issues that I still don't understand, didn't work at all. And this, man, I don't know. Is anyone else reading Amazing Spider-Man? Am I wrong? That's what I want to know. I'm not.
I am not a Spider-Man guy. Like, I love Spider-Man, but like, I've missed most of the big arcs.
Okay.
And I picked this one up because I'm like, all right, new jumping on point. Let's get over the Zeb Wells stuff, because I did read some of the Zeb Wells Beyond stuff. And that was awful. And this one, like, I was on board until like, I did think that I didn't like the coloring. I liked the art, but like the artwork didn't really click until this latest issue, when I was like, holy shit, that fight between Hobgoblin and
it was great.
Peter was like, the art was amazing. But yeah, story whack. Like, Itsy Bitsy as a character whack. Like, can we please stop doing Deadpool characters?
Yes, I agree.
In Marvel,
I agree.
Marvel don't do Deadpool challenge, failed. So not working. I really want a good, simple ass Spider-Man story, and they're so far not delivering to bring me back into the fold. So.
I agree. At the end, that last page of the Amazing Spider-Man #1 that he did, where it's like, hey guys, here's all the old Spider villains. We're getting back to it. We're getting away from all those weird Zeb Wells ideas. Here they are. And then Itsy Bitsy fucking Spider shows up. Like, Mark Stern, you're unmuted. What do you think, man?
What is that?
You know what? I agree with you guys. Like, you're making me second guess my opinion on it. But
no, don't. Honestly, tell us we're wrong if you feel it in your heart.
But like, after the last few years of Zeb Wells and like, just look, the best Spider-Man stories that we've gotten in the last couple of years, in my opinion, have been like not even on the ASM flagship.
Agreed.
It's been like
agreed.
Chip Zdarsky. He was writing what was that, Spectacular or Web of or whatever it was. He was doing some great down to earth Spider-Man stories, and now it's like everything is bombastic and huge and like life altering, you know. And I think that's why I'm enjoying the Ultimate Spider-Man run so much more. It's just it's like semi grounded, you know. And this stuff is just everything is building on stuff that has a really shaky foundation.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I think I brought it up a couple episodes ago. The Amazing Spider-Men, the team up book with Peter and Miles, has been some really fun, grounded, just like
great.
Street level fighting. Yeah.
I hope you don't love it too much because it's canceled. Can't have nice things, JD. Sorry.
Can I add one more thing though? That
Please.
I think maybe it hit for me in this last issue of Amazing Spider-Man was just they've been talking about like Peter's like, I'm assuming it's like junior high age, where he's like getting flashbacks to when he was like rebelling. He was starting to go down a sketchier path for himself with his sketchy friends.
His punk rock phase, bro.
And you know what? That is actually, to me, I was like, you can see this, you know, like everybody kind of has those hesitations at that age. And like to see them kind of like building on that aspect of Pete's backstory, I like. I had no idea who Itsy Bitsy was before all this because I've never read a lot of Joe Kelly stuff. That's on me. But it was like visceral, some of the reactions in the Discord. It was like people don't like that character. But I don't know. In her limited capacity in this series, I thought it was kind of fun. She's crazy as hell.
She's crazy as hell. And I like that Joe Kelly's kind of doing, okay, there's aspects of it I like. And I agree. The rebelling Peter thing, young Peter rebelling a little bit, I like that. Because every other story is like, I'm a nerd. Thanks, Aunt May. And like he never did anything wrong. You know, this kid never rebelled at all. That seems silly. So I do like they investigated that a little bit. I like the way that Joe Kelly writes Itsy Bitsy, like her dialogue is good. She's crazy girlfriend. She's crazy ex-girlfriend, right?
Yes.
She loves him. She wants to kill him. Whatever. I just wish you could do it with a character that, like Hecatron said, isn't so fucking Deadpool. You know, give somebody else some personality. I didn't like Itsy Bitsy when she showed up. The idea of it was just kind of whatever, right? And I don't need her being the big reveal of like, oh, a character that's returned. Like, oh,
what's up, jerk?
Oh, sorry, guys. Shit. Sorry, everybody. Joe's here.
I'm just popping in. I'm just popping in to say hi. Hello from Sioux Falls, South Dakota.
Oh, I just realized you have a GIF of a dinosaur on your face. That's what that is.
You what?
There's a dinosaur GIF on your face.
Oh yes, that's from my Jurassic World. Watching the Jurassic World video. That's the reward.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. Right. All right. Well, carry on. I just wanted to pop in and say hey.
Happy anniversary, Joe.
Enjoy, man.
Thanks. Talk to you guys later.
All right.
Bye.
See ya.
Hey.
Yeah. So Itsy Bitsy. Just look, when you say we're getting back down to spider business and we're getting away from the Zeb Wells stuff, it doesn't feel great to bring a character like that in. Hobgoblin, dig it. Totally. And that art was great. The fight scene is fucking incredible. I don't remember when Hobgoblin got wings. Maybe someone can help me there.
I literally haven't read a Hobgoblin story since like the late 90s. And I was like, cool, like a real demon-y Hobgoblin with a cool flaming sword. Like, this is kind of rad. And then he's like, his grand plan is like soda drugs.
That's
like, what?
That's where I was going with it.
What?
That's where I was going with it. It's like, I dig the Hobgoblin. This Hobgoblin looks kick-ass. He's devil dude. Why is he trying to put hallucinogens into soda pop? Like, that's the plan? That's like a Powerpuff Girls plan, you know? Like, what are we doing?
I mean, there's like a multitude of villains that he could have chosen for that, like Dr. Octopus.
Fucking Mysterio.
Norman Osborn.
That
like,
seems right up like Mysterio's alley, right? This is what Mysterio does. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that the Hobgoblin's behind it and he's working with Itsy Bitsy Spider, like, I mean, all right. Okay, but didn't do it for me. Mark, I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'm glad you're liking it. And I do think Joe Kelly has Peter's voice down. I don't know. I just need some Spider-Man stories, man. And I think,
so the thing about the voice, like Joe Kelly's voice for the book is phenomenal.
It's great.
And like, I wish he had a better story to write with this. Like, it's just, I don't know. I hope we're not. Like, is this just an editorial problem? Like, I hate to do this, like get into this, but is this an editorial problem with Spider-Man? Like,
I don't know, man, because look at Marvel Comics as a whole. And we were talking about like Ben Percy the other night, who's going to be your new Punisher guy. That just seems like the easiest choice. Because what does Ben Percy do? Oh, man, he writes real violent, gory shit, man. It's so violent, so rated R. It's so gory, bro. I'm like, okay, what's the story? Oh, it's so gory. Story is, man, it's just so violent. Like, cool, what's it about? Oh, blood and guts. In fact, like, okay, time out. Are we telling a story? And this seems kind of symptomatic of a lot of Marvel comics right now, especially the X-Men. We're using characters as set pieces. We're using big names on the cover, maybe to sell a comic. Very flashy art, some of it, which is great. Some of it feels a little soulless to me. But what's the best story going on in Marvel Comics right now? I would love your opinion. Ultimate Marvel. 100% agree.
Yeah.
The Ultimate Marvel
stuff. I just
stuff.
caught up on all of that.
And I'm not even, like partially there.
You're not wrong though. I mean, in Damon, you can speak to this more if you like, but like, it's not close. The Ultimates and Ultimate Spider-Man.
Mm-hmm.
The best stuff going on at Marvel. The other Ultimate stuff, I don't care about.
So, Matt,
I wouldn't go that far, to be honest with you.
Oh, really?
I was actually enjoying like some of the Black Panther stuff, at least some of the early stuff.
Okay.
At this point. And, but yeah, if you're talking about heads and shoulder above, like this whole thing with like, mind you, I've been gone like halfway because I've been similar to on the Lake House path too. So I've been slowly catching up. So I'm like on like probably the halfway point at this stage.
You should move in with JD. You guys could split rent and everything. You could live in the lake house together. It'd be adorable.
I'm kind of like neighbors, I guess, at this stage.
Sure.
Yeah, we can just password share.
Yeah, you got a pontoon. Right.
Yeah. The thing about the lake house, though, I mean, I will say it does let us kind of, there's a low barrier to entry on trying all the books. So
sure,
there's
100%.
Some offshoot books that I think are good in spite of the general weirdness with Marvel. Like one of the books that I've really been enjoying lately that I normally wouldn't read is I think Steve Orlando is still writing it. Scarlet Witch.
It's great. It's great.
Yeah, that's actually pretty good
That book
too.
is amazing.
Yes.
And you know what's awesome part about that book is it has nothing to do with anything else.
That's it.
Right.
I think that's it right there.
Self-contained story.
Yes. That's why Hickman's Ultimate Spider-Man is so good. Because I think this is, and Hickman, I don't know if you guys read that interview that we had up on the Discord where he was talking about what happened with his X-Men and what happened with this upcoming Empire book, where he's bummed. Just like, he's like, I'm done. I'm bummed. I don't like how it turned out. I'm not happy about it at all. You know, and like this Empire that hasn't even happened yet. He said the same thing where it's just like, I had an idea.
Was that the interview with off panel with David Walker?
Yes. Where
I heard that too.
He just sounded beat down. And he's like,
and even Gods had a weird like origin story. Like Gods was supposed to be a TV show.
Yeah. And they sort of smashed it into Marvel continuity. And
I'm thinking, how much better would that have been as like a Disney Plus show?
This goes back to my editorial,
the original Disney Plus thing.
But this goes back to what I was saying about editorial. When even a guy like Jonathan Hickman is getting shoved around, that worries me that there's way too much editorial power right now. And they'll let Steve Orlando do something with Scarlet Witch because who gives a shit? It's a Scarlet Witch. Who cares? It's barely selling. You know, the fact that it's great, well, good, whatever, you know. Or Al Ewing's Thor is very good because he's Al Ewing and it's Thor, but it's completely disconnected. Yeah. Jed McKay's
the biggest reason why, like, I think those books, all the books that you're calling out are working, and I think why DC is working so well is because, like, it feels like they're trusting their artists.
Yes.
Not art, like writers and artists, obviously, but like they're trusting their creatives to, like, as the kids say, they're just letting them cook.
Yes.
And they're letting them do weird shit like that. Like I made fun of it in my my review, but like in Ultimates, like we have 4 issues of like weird non sequiturs that are just wild creative swings.
Yeah.
And it's awesome.
It's great.
Awesome.
It's great.
But like when we go back to Spider-Man, when you see that, it's like, oh yes, very well written. Art is amazing.
Yep.
What are we doing?
Right.
What are we doing here?
Right.
Like that's how all of Marvel feels, aside from a couple different pockets.
Avengers,
yeah, but that's
X-Men.
why Ultimate Spider-Man works so well. It's because of like it feels like a different take that we honestly haven't really seen in the main Marvel continuity. I mean, he's a grown-up man.
Yeah.
But it's also getting it down to brass tacks. Like this is why like the ultimate takes and absolute takes are cool. It's like putting the character in a new situation or slightly remixed situation, but it still feels like that character brought down to its essence. And that's why I think people are really glomming onto this, because it's like Spider-Man doing Spider-Man stuff.
Yeah.
Not too big, not too small. He's worried about the people he loves. He's wrestling with bad guys that he kind of knows. And it's just like, yes, this, let's do this.
Yeah. Absolute Batman. Same thing. Batman doing Batman stuff. Different story. A lot of different stuff going on. But I mean, end of the day, it's the best Batman book they're putting out right now. No question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's not close.
Batman beating a criminal.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I'm not saying like
Batman, but nonetheless,
I'm not saying I needed like regular Batman to turn his horns and stab someone in the face, you know, in like Detective or something.
That was like, I loved it.
But I loved it. Like, it was great. And like, yeah, this Batman's a living weapon. I believe chainsaws come out of his shoulders if he needs that. You know, like, yes. You know?
Yeah, it's all context. Like, you know, we did this in mainline, it would be terrible. But like, but putting it in the context of Snyder and Dragata's like hyper violent, hyper realistic world, awesome.
Yeah, love it.
Awesome.
And he did it to the Black Mask. Who cares? It's not like he did it to the Joker.
Yeah, and he has a dump truck not a dump truck. He has like whatever that thing is, like a giant construction vehicle, Batmobile.
Yeah, I don't even know what you call that thing other than like a monolith.
I don't know what that is. It's amazing.
A megalithic vehicle. I don't know. Yeah. It was fucking massive, and I love it. But no, I agree. I feel like DC editorial is letting creators do what they, I mean, like, obviously, even the all-in stuff, they've boiled it back down. Like, Green Arrow is very good again. Green Lantern is very good again. They took some swings with, like, Challengers of the Unknown, which didn't pan out, but I like they took that swing. I like they went for it at least. The Renee Montoya book, The Question, is not working for me, but I like her as The Question, and I think she could be used well. I don't need her as a Justice League satellite cop. I think it's kind of, I'd rather see her, investigating stuff that Batman doesn't have time for in Gotham, right? Like
they really seem to be holding the absolute books back from the non-official streaming channels. Like, I can't find it on Global Comics. It hasn't come out on Hoopla yet, so I think they realize the gold mine they have there, and they're hanging on to it until I think probably the first trades come out.
I think so too, and I think DC's
they have most of them on Infinite now, but except for like if you have
but I'm not paying for Infinite.
Sure.
So.
No. Don't recommend. Don't be like me, please.
Yeah.
Don't be like me, man.
I wanted to.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, Frank, go ahead, Frank.
I had this conversation with an old friend of mine who now owns like the comic shop in town I grew up in, and we were talking about how good the absolute DC stories are, and he's like, yeah, but here's the thing, everyone's like, those stories are amazing. He goes, but DC, he feels that DC, now he's been in the field like 40 years now. I remember when he was a kid working at that shop, but he's like, if DC really wanted to sell books, because everyone loves the way the absolute books are, they would allow the creators to do take the same kind of swings as they're taking with the absolute books.
Yes.
Because everyone's like, oh, that absolute Wonder Woman is amazing. Like, so do that in the mainline Wonder Woman book. Do something different.
I don't disagree. I think the problem lies in the fact that this is, okay, so, and I'm going to start talking wrestling again, because I bring wrestling, because wrestling and comics are so close.
They are.
Yeah, I absolutely agree.
We are seeing the kayfabe because we got a fucking Superman movie this summer. So you want to know why it's a summer of Superman? You want to know why Mark Waid is writing Superman the way he is? Why Joshua Williamson is trying to sort of like force his Superman, it's the best Superman that's ever Superman? Because there's a Superman movie. And it's got to be that recognized. The last time we had a big hit was Richard Donner. Literally. The last time we had a Superman movie that everyone was happy about was Richard Donner. And you want to talk about weird kryptonite shit. That Man of Steel movie where he's like lifting an entire island of kryptonite after kryptonite almost kills him like 7 times. Like, what the fuck? but I digress.
Was that Man of Steel, or was that that was the Brandon Routh Superman, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's Routh. That was the entire plot.
Yeah.
That was a big plan at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a Man of Steel. That was Superman Returns.
Oh, Superman Returns.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, not
Superman Returns.
Right, yeah, correct.
Hey, poor Brandon Routh, man. That guy looked so good in the costume. Too bad.
He did.
And he did Clark too at the same time.
Yeah, he was awesome in that weird CW crossover as the Kingdom Come Superman.
Yeah.
Yeah, he suffered from this script sucks.
Yeah.
And the director is terrible.
Yeah.
And otherwise, he literally could have been the next Superman for like
100%.
Oh yeah. That's like Affleck that's like Batfleck.
Yeah.
Batfleck looked great in the costume. He was an awesome Bruce Wayne, but he just had horrible story and script.
Okay. Okay. Hold on to that for a second, because I want to talk about that too. Let me put a pin in this. Because Richard Donner's Superman was the last thing everybody was happy about, we have to have the Superman comics the way that they are right now, because they gotta sell this movie. If this movie tanks, and I don't think this is hyperbole, if Superman fails, superhero movies are probably in serious fucking trouble, because we've seen, like Thunderbolts was one of the lowest. I mean, it was a hit, but it was one of the lowest grossing Marvel movies since Captain Marvel. And I think Captain Marvel beat it on that weekend even. And Thunderbolts is a good movie.
I just
lowest revenue earner for them.
Yeah.
I think we this is a bigger thing, but I mean, I haven't gone to the movies. I haven't seen a movie in the theater since the Marvels. And
I saw
like,
Captain America.
I want to see Sinners. I want to see Thunderbolts. I want to, and it's just, I don't know about you, but I don't go to the movies anymore. And I think there's a lot of people like me. So I think gross box office isn't really a thing we can look at anymore. I was going to ask, because I haven't seen Thunderbolts yet, but everything I've heard about it, it's awesome. And I saw the trailer for Ironheart, which I know has some weird thought processes on it. It's like, why are we doing this? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But I thought the trailer looked amazing. I thought it looked good, and I thought it nailed Riri in a way that we haven't seen in a while. Like, there's some like actual things straight out of the comics in that trailer.
Agreed. And I think that Ironheart trailer is definitely better than the Riri we got in, World of Wakanda or Black Panther 2.
Yeah.
Which going back and like, I just watched Black Panther 2 again recently because I sat there and in my head, I was like, was that a good movie? I think it was a good movie. No. And then I realized, you know what? The first half an hour of the movie when we are saying goodbye to the Black Panther and the funeral.
Yeah.
Incredible. Like incredible moment. I
nosedives.
Cried in the theater. Like people around me cried. We were just like, Jesus, we all went to this guy's funeral and it was amazing. And then they had to make the rest of the movie. And it was just like, and like, there were moments of it that were beautiful.
And then they repurposed the Disney Plus TV show.
Yes. Like there were moments of it that are absolutely incredible. The Atlantis stuff and people swimming around, like that looked beautiful. The guy that played Namor.
My hot take on that is that Namor is the best Namor.
Perfect.
He's so good.
You're never going to get a better Namor than that. But the story and the movie,
the name aside, he played him perfect.
Yeah. But the story and the movie, and especially Riri, who you could tell, like they were like, hey, this is a chance where we can hammer this character into your script. Is that cool? And he went, sure. And we can sort of get a Robert Downey Jr. thing in here too. Yeah, why not? Fuck it. We'll just smash that in there too. It just didn't work. And so when they went, Ironheart show is coming, I think everybody kind of went, oh, cool.
That's what I did. I was like, oh, that's still a thing that still exists.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I forgot about it, but yeah, sure.
They're also calling this the end of Phase 5. Like this Ironheart, this is the end of Phase 5. And I'm like, why do you come out and say that? Unless you're like
Daredevil Born Again season 2?
No, that is, who knows what that is. But this is the end of season 5, JD. And I think it's sort of like them saying, we made a lot of mistakes.
There's no way they're going to end with Daredevil and then start with a show that could fail right into Fantastic Four.
No,
it's arbitrary.
No. I'm saying Daredevil season 2. So let's have Ironheart, which comes out in like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And then end Phase 5 with Daredevil season 2 because it's already happened.
No,
so
we
that means that Daredevil season 1 is not part of Phase 5.
Correct.
So we're still in this weird. Yes. Daredevil separate.
Yes, correct. The circle graphs are like
I think it's going to be one of those things that in a year when you go back and look at one of those dumb timeline things, Daredevil, Born Again will be at the end of Phase 5.
Probably, yeah.
Because it doesn't, they're just, who cares? It doesn't, it's
going to be a sliding scale. Like, there's no way they can justify it.
Right.
It depends on how things sell and who does what. And they launched that whole list. Everyone who works for Marvel and Disney has said, listen, we did too much.
Yes.
We get it.
Kevin Feige. And then
Kevin Feige. Which is true. And then you look at the new Phase 6 list with the pushed out Avengers movies. And there's 8 TV shows.
Yeah.
And it's great. They definitely didn't learn anything from what here they come.
So it sounds like
no Blade still.
It sounds like there's two heads butting right now. And there's like Marvel Studios, which is like, let's be real, Phase 1 and Phase 2 are the only phases. Everything else is just like, what the fuck? We're already on 5?
Yeah.
Well, I can't even tell, like, what was Phase 3? Anyone? I'd love to hear what Phase 3 was. Anybody?
as much as I love a
Jonathan
taxonomy,
Major's legal problem.
Jonathan Major's legal problem. I think that was.
care.
I think that was technically. I think that was 3.5 or 4.1, maybe.
Well, it's everything. It ends with Endgame, right? That because Phase 4 is like Black Widow until now.
I guess
all the way through Marvels and Ms. Marvel and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Echo, Hawkeye.
I just wanted to ping off of something someone said earlier about the Blade movie. I think that's the biggest indicator to me that Disney and Marvel isn't like a serious problem.
Yes.
You can't get a Blade movie made. How the fuck do you not get a Blade movie made?
Right.
It's money in the bank. You had a star. You had a director. Like, that just seems to me like the most unbelievable fumble so far.
Ian, not just that, Ian. With a ton of heat, and
you
had need to make these movies.
You had 3 Blade movies before this, all of which were hits. This is not untreaded, like territory. This is fucking Blade, right? This is not even the Guardians of the Galaxy, which was a huge risk. It's Blade. And what does Blade fight?
And
vampires. Everyone knows this. Like how can you not do it?
And one of the few TV projects that they put out that was universally loved, that
people
even all of us universally liked,
show,
which is that the werewolf show was successful. So we've already laid the groundwork for that world.
Right.
I'll say this. I heard someone comment the other day that the existence and success of Sinners negates the existence of a Blade movie. Like, we no longer need a Blade movie now. No one's interested in a Blade movie. We have our Black Lead vampire movie now. It's too late for Blade. And I kind of agree with that.
Hard disagree, man. Hard disagree. There's so much more that Blade as a character like brings to that, and a lot of it is the swords and action and kicking ass, and that's all that Blade needs is it's just like Matt was saying. It's like Blade fights vampires.
Right.
You're done. Do a John Wick with Blade.
But I think what Ian is saying
with Blade, we're done. Yeah. It's all we want.
I think
I'm not saying that a Blade movie wouldn't be good or couldn't be good now that Sinners exists. I'm saying that the people that are going to be producing movies are like I don't see them pursuing this as hard anymore because of how troubled the production has been.
Yes.
And because you've already got something occupying that spot.
I disagree. I think that the success of Sinners might actually make it happen. Because they say, because they will look at Sinners and say, like, there's an avenue here. There's a want for this.
I mean,
vampires are like on the public consciousness right now. So why wouldn't you?
Right. There's also that toxic thing though, where like Marvel,
like being an also ran. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. They're going to be like, oh, is it going to be like Marvel's chasing Sinners now?
Okay, so
yeah, but I don't know. I think that the Blade movie has such cachet in the culture that like I think that like it would just be welcomed, and
I
people
don't disagree.
Would be like, yes, finally we get another one because everyone loves that original Blade.
I don't disagree at all. But I don't know if anybody's watching The Studio on Apple TV. It's wonderful. Great. It's wonderful. But they're like talking about they made these MK Ultra movies, which was like their Avengers, right? And it was a superhero schlock or whatever. And they did a spin-off that failed really badly. But it was a spin-off of this thing that should have been a huge hit, right? Should have been massive. And all the other studios are like, we're going to do it too. And it made a bunch of money. But then all the other studios went, oh, they already did it. They already did it, and this is dead. It's dead. It's dead. Forget about it. It's dead. Like move on to the next thing. And now they're making a Kool-Aid Man movie, right? So I can see how like the studios, what Ian's saying, like from a studio point of view, yes, Sinners was a huge hit, and maybe it was Coogler saying, "Oh, you guys can't make a Blade movie? Watch this," and maybe that's what it was. And also, Coogler came right out and said it felt so fucking good to work outside of that like Disney studio and make my own movie and shit like that.
Yeah, someone pointed out something that I didn't realize, but this is the first movie by Ryan Coogler that isn't an existing property in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Everything he's done up to this point was Fruitvale Station was based on a true story.
A book.
The Creed movies were all
Rocky. Yeah.
We're all Rocky. And then Black Panther and the Black Panther movies. So, this is the first thing that's truly him. And everything I've heard, it's amazing. God, I can't wait to go see it. I can't get myself to go to a theater right now. I don't know why.
Fair enough. And I don't think that's wrong. And I think the biggest right now, and JD, you said something where it's like, look, we can't rely on box office money anymore to show what is a hit, because it's not. Like, look at things like Suits, for example. Suits was a TV show that, you know, was nothing on the USA Network when it aired 15 years ago, and then COVID happened. Nobody had anything to watch. They started watching Suits. It's the biggest streaming hit on television. You know, like, there's no rules anymore. The rules are gone.
I think the one thing you can say about the box office, though, and this is just another feather in how kind of colossal Sinners has been at the box office, that it's dropped like, I think, 5%.
Yeah.
Second to third week, and it dropped like 7% the first week. That's like unheard of.
Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah, and it's almost climbing.
It made more
in movie numbers. That low of a drop is a climb.
Yeah, it was something where, like, it made more money like the third week it was out because the buzz was so good about it. But I mean, the point being, Superman has to rescue superhero movies, and the only way the studios are going to see it rescue superhero movies is if it comes out and makes $200 million in the first weekend. That's it. Yeah. If it doesn't, if it makes $150 million, they're going to go, well, that's disappointing numbers. You know, even though it's like one of the biggest premieres ever, you know, we're in this like growth mindset, and we have to save theaters. We have to. It doesn't matter they're too expensive. It doesn't matter that the experience is not what it used to be. It doesn't matter that concession prices are fucking outlandish. Like, the theater groups, they will not listen. We are fine. We're perfect. The theater is perfect. We will hear nothing about any criticisms. Why aren't you coming? It's Superman's fault. You know, that's what's going to happen.
Well, what's going to happen when Avengers Doomsday doesn't make $1 billion?
Right. Like, Disney,
like they're thinking, they're banking on it. They're thinking this is it's in the bag, no problem. If it makes $250 million and that's that's their high week, it'll be a bomb. Yeah. As far as they're concerned, you know, which is like an insane amount of money. Maybe stop making expensive movies.
I don't think it. I think the death of the superhero isn't going to be Superman's fault. I think the death of the superhero movie is going to be Robert Downey Jr.'s fault.
I mean, we'll see. Maybe.
Hey, I don't blame Robert Downey Jr. I blame Marvel going back to the well.
Kevin Feige.
I don't think I don't blame him particularly, but it's going to be. I just have this sinking pit in my stomach that says that the RDJ as Doctor Doom thing is not going to pan out. It's not going to play well. It's not going to do. It's going to do exactly what it looks like on the box, and all of the little no prize spinny things that we've tried to put on it to make it make sense or to make it cool are just not going to happen. They're going to play it right down the middle, and I don't know how that works.
Maybe
I have a sneaking suspicion that Robert Downey Jr. reveal was. I still think it's overblown, his role as Dr. Doom.
I don't think
disagree. It's going to be an incursion. Like, it's going to be an Illuminati from another universe that's having an incursion, and we're going to fight them. And I think that they did that reveal because at that time, Marvel was in a bad place.
They were scared.
Some excitement. And that was all they could trot out. And I don't know. I think you're right if they stick to what they seem like they're going to do, but I don't think that. I think they're goofing on us.
I agree with both of you. I think if I'm a betting man, JD, I'm betting against it. I'm betting it does not work. But Hecatron, we all know Marvel lies to us. They have lied to us so many times. They have shown us things in previews that aren't even in the movie. You know, so it would not surprise me if something happens with this RDJ as Doom thing that is literally done 15 minutes into the movie. That's not an impossibility. And then they didn't lie. Right. They told us he's your Dr. Doom.
They killed Carrie-Ann Moss in in the Star Wars? The last one. Like, she was played up like.
They killed her in the second episode. Holy shit.
Yeah, that's right. No, first episode.
Oh, no, you're right. First episode. And then they killed the whole series. I think that's...
And then they brought it back.
I think looking at... And we've talked about... We've beat this horse to death, and I got to go in a minute here. But I do think if you look at Disney and you look at the trajectory of Star Wars and Marvel, you can very safely say who is steering this ship, why the problems are the problems that they're having, and how slowly they're learning. Like, look at a show like Andor, which is S-tier television. It's fantastic. It is better than a Star Wars show should be, period. Because Star Wars, it's fine. Sorry, guys. I don't mean to piss me off. It's fine. Right? Andor is excellent. Everything else that Disney has put out, literally everything else, mediocre to garbage. And they had a hit with Marvel. They were letting Marvel steer the ship, and then the mouse went, give me more, 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 give me more. And even Feige was like, we did too much. They asked for too much.
There's glimmers there. I mean,
there are glimmers there.
I just went back and watched a reaction video of someone watching Hawkeye, and that helped me to relive the Hawkeye series. I loved that series. I
liked Hawkeye until the very end, where it tried to do way too much. Like
the Kingpin.
I even liked
it just did too much.
We got a cool like archery action standoff that was what I wanted out of Hawkeye. You know?
But I mean, you could have just told that interpersonal story, set it around Christmas, and I feel good. Great, thanks. That was great. But like, no, it's got to lead into this next thing.
Echo.
It's got to introduce Echo so we can have a terrible Echo series for a character whose powers I still can't explain. Like Echo's a perfect example where the mouse got involved. Like, she's a hit. She's awesome. Do more of her. But don't just do more of her. Do more of her. Like, I don't like the comic version. The comic version's whatever. We don't need another Hitman. I don't know. Give her some Native American powers or something. Yeah, I love it. Okay, it's totally and we'll get Native American people on the show and Native American producers, so it can't be racist.
But,
fuck off.
I am going to say though, good TV. Not comic related, but good TV. Poker Face is back with season 2.
Poker Face is back.
If you've not watched that show on Peacock, that is perfect TV in my opinion.
It's great. Murderbot. If you're not watching Murderbot,
yes, I want to check that out.
Holy shit! It is so good.
What about Silo? Anybody watching the Silo?
I fell off Silo. I thought it was.
I know about that show.
Really?
That's another one.
I've heard it. I heard it's great, and I know I need to watch it, and I will.
Yeah.
But I just
the thing
fell
about
off.
Poker Face that blows my mind is the amount of guest stars.
Yeah.
Like, this show must either be super fun to make, or they're backing up trucks with money.
I think everybody likes Natasha Lyonne a lot, and they all like the showrunner a lot. It's the same with the studio.
Yeah.
And like, it's loaded with guest stars because everybody loves everybody in the show, and it's about Hollywood. All right.
Yeah.
Good gang hang.
I gotta go.
Ryan Johnson's a dream to work with, so.
We got to get out of here. Good gang hang. Good to see everybody. I missed you guys. We'll get back on our schedule. Apologies, but thank you so much. This was great. We'll see you next week.
Yeah.
This is Two
Later,
Nerd signing off.